Live from YMSL Studios, welcome to the Week 3 edition of the DougLESS Report. I'm your host, Bobby Moravia, with Max Sutton to my left.
Thanks for having me once
Beard's
again.
getting longer, Max. Hopefully another few days, maybe.
Few more days. Friday morning, counting down the minutes.
You'll lose a couple of pounds and the beard comes off.
Gracious. A lot of gray I'm going to be losing, too.
A lot to talk about, Max, this week. First of all, the fact that we even played this week, amazingly enough, a lot of...
kudos to a lot of the ground crew.
Actually, kudos to the YMSL players to make this happen.
God bless.
Yourself being one of them,
My
David
pleasure.
Parker, Morris Casson, who else? Leo Pichotto, Jordy Vermel. A lot of guys helped to get the games underway.
There was teams that were troopers, understanding we're going to have to move fields,
Yeah.
guys had to get up and move, and everybody was very accommodating about it, which is a
And
pleasure.
the fields actually turned out to be pretty
By the
pretty
third
good.
inning, it was perfect. In
And-
fact, the hops, sometimes when you play in the beginning wet, the games move on, those hops are true. You don't get those funny, fast field. It plays like a major league field. So
Yeah, no, it was
sometimes
amazing.
it's a pleasure after that.
We'll start off with Memorial One with Jeffrey Saka, who's one of the guys that did help out. He showed up 2 seconds before the first pitch.
Okay.
But
That was all ready for him.
so they had Maurice Haber going up against Jeffrey Saka.
Well, we said something last week, and before the game even started, it sounds like we hit the nail on the head. There was some
Shenanigans. shall we say.
shenanigans, Maurice being involved.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he'd bite his tongue, but
Yeah,
I
Henry
was
was
wrong.
there. And,
Henry was there, and
and let's not forget,
our old analyst,
there's no love lost between those two.
they have their moments. As NRJ used to always say it, what do they call it? The Hammering
Hammering
Hank.
Hank.
Right, the Hammering Hank lays down the hammer.
Yeah,
And it sounded early, there was some controversy about the mound.
right.
They ended up panning things out. And I'm going to toot my own horn. Last week in predictions, I said Jeffrey's going to come out and shut these guys down. I didn't get crazy details in the game. For the most part, we got what the game was about. But the scores indicate Jeffrey shut these guys down.
Yeah, and I caught some of this game. No, Jeffrey definitely had it this game, as did Max did. But 2 one-run games, and
Well, I did hear the games, Maurice's team, they weren't hitting for the most part. I heard a key spot in the game. I think David Arari came up with a runner on third and 1 out. And that had a chance to put a run on the board. And like you said, we're talking about a 1-run game. So a spot like that is big. And we've been saying they need David's bat to come around if these guys are going to be something. And I think he struck out. He had 2 deep flies that were foul. And then he struck out on a high vintage Jeffrey flippy fastball that gets people.
now the interesting thing we all talked about last week was going to be the behavior of Sabon.
So how was that?
Before the national anthem, he was pretty quiet, and then he started.
I mean, in the Instagram little photo we have of when they won the game, the only voice I heard was Sabon saying, "Come on, Jeffrey!"
Yeah.
So he still has that fire in him, which is good to see. And it sounded like that end of that second game got really dicey.
Well,
Louis Franco
again,
happened to play with the winning run at second base.
Yeah, again, the same situation. He put on a couple of guys, walked a couple of guys.
Danger happens.
At the bottom of the order, but fortunately they got Louis Franco to fly out
Right, to center field.
to center field to end the game. But they dodged a major bullet, and rumors in the Sack Attack organization is that there might get a cameo appearance from Mikey Franco this week.
Really?
Yeah,
It's
Memorial
against my
weekend.
team. I'll have a chance to see him.
Weekend.
It's going to be exciting. Okay.
Yeah, he's either he's going to play either shortstop or center field because
we'll find
that's all
out.
he knows. But so it's going to be interesting to add him to the mix
Did
of those characters.
did him and Michael Salmon ever play on the same team together?
No, Solomon.
That could
By
be-
the time he retired,
That could be a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
Is there like an intimidation factor that Ike brings to the field that'll maybe make that team a little bit more quiet in general? Did Henry ever play with Ike?
I don't know. But Ike hasn't played since about early '90s.
Ike's a strong personality.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know him well.
Yeah.
His brother-in-law is my brother-in-law is his uncle, is his nephew.
Right.
I'm sorry. So I know him through friends of mine,
Right.
Steven and Meyer. But he is a strong personality.
Right.
Is he going to change the dynamics of that team?
It could
Just
be interesting.
by being there, it could be very interesting.
Well, first of all, if this is, how's he going to play? First of all, after a big 20-year
one thing I know is he's in great shape.
Right.
I've seen him; the guy looks great.
Right.
But baseball shape is a lot of difference.
Right.
Hamstrings on the field. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's playing soccer every week for all I know, and he's running on grass.
Right.
But we'll find out. I did hear, back to the game quickly, that Maurice's team, the runs that Jeffrey's team scored, I know Michael Solomon had some big hits, and we saw that he was on the website. It showed that on the front of the website. But I did hear there was some big errors. Heard John Eliezer had a major error that could have been a double play ball under his legs.
Well, it was you mentioned, ironically, Saban, he smoked the line drive down.
Okay, so
it was a very hard ball.
Okay, so I hear different reports from different people.
Yeah, well, Saban's going to tell you hit it in the gap, but no, he really hit it hard. So that was.
No, the truth is, the motto we always say, what's the mantra? Hard and light. You can hit it that hard, good things do happen. Johnny's an amazing fielder, but mistakes happen. And I did hear there was a couple of other errors on Maurice's team that got a little sloppy. Maxi Diet, I heard, was great. I heard Carlos looked great in center field.
Yeah, Carlos is
but there was,
a bona fide.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great.
But there was miscues and mistakes, and Maurice's team just didn't hit. They didn't really. Jeffrey shut them down. That's what it comes
So now, before we get even further, we have to mention this week, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is the trade deadline.
Really?
Yes.
So I've been getting a lot of texts and a lot of WhatsApp messages over the last 2 days. A lot of people want Eddie Michon from me, and I can say it to the league. There's no shot, okay? I'm just throwing that out there.
Not after a 7 for 8 week.
That's for sure. No, Eddie's is the quiet. Now, not so quiet. I was happy. Eddie got a little loud. He's a big leader on our team. We need him. And whatchamacallit. I'm not going to throw out the names people want to trade. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, God forbid. But there were names out there on the trade block. So.
Oh yeah, well I think people also are looking for offensive help. A lot of players.
And it's funny you say that because a lot of the names are really good offensive players.
Yeah,
bona fide offensive hitters, not one and dones. Good hitters in this league.
Right.
So I wouldn't be shocked if there's a deal or two by the deadline. People have hard times making trades. But I wouldn't be shocked because there are a lot of names floating.
And who knows? Saban still could be,
I don't know
if they kiss
we'll
and made up. Or I don't know what happened with that. But
find out.
Teams. The great thing about it, what's going on in the standings is everybody's pretty much.
Everybody's in it. Everybody's in it.
3 teams 2 and 4, 3 teams 3 and 3. So everybody's really in the mix. I don't think anybody has to panic as far as.
Sure, nobody. Right. If you get traded to a 2 and 4 team, you can't cry that bad. You're right in it.
But Maurice is, 2 and 4, so he's
2 and 4. But Maurice is a very interesting 2 and 4. He got swept and he swept.
Right.
So it's usually that's how it works on even numbers. But the way it happened, he went from sweeping to getting swept.
Right.
We'll see who he plays next week. I'm interested in that. But let's go.
Let's shoot over to Memorial 2, which is we're playing there for the second week in a row. All of a sudden, that became a popular field. Memorial
People are starting
2.
to like it now. I heard it wasn't in the best of conditions, but after a lot of work, like you said, Jordy Rameld helped out a lot. And there was a couple of other guys doing regular that wasn't out there. I heard it got good as the day went. I heard the pitcher's mound was sloppy.
Right.
And they had to work around it. Interesting, Leo Casson, we mentioned, had to tend to his other family duties in Mexico. And going on the mound, game 1 was none other than Ike Mavora. Now, before we start, I will, and I heard from many different players, Ike didn't volunteer to go on the mound. He was asked to go on the mound. He didn't particularly want to pitch. I think the conditions didn't help. The past didn't help.
Right.
And he was on the mound. Had the game started, I heard was 3 walks.
I thought it was 4, but it could be
4. It could be 3. I heard 3 walks to start the game.
4 or 5, 3 in a row to start
There's 15 people out there. Everybody has their own. Everybody remembers. But I heard there was 3 walks.
And I think he had 7 walks in 3 innings. But
ouch. Was he getting squeezed? There were some people telling me he wasn't getting the low strike, which we'll get into Salim Levy getting very upset about. We'll get there. But it started with 3 walks, and I heard he could have got out of the inning with 1, 2 runs.
Right.
And his defense did let him down. Heard there was some shoddy play on the infield. There was one play where Elliott, I heard, wasn't on the bag on a throw, I think. And there was one play where a ground ball got botched. It was a weird, easy played ground ball that was in nowhere's land. So 4 runs did come across.
Right.
And like you said, walks usually come back to bite you in the behind.
Listen, but you know what? defense, nobody's going to play a perfect defensive game.
It's softball.
It's the walks are going to kill you. We've talked about that for years.
So you mentioned 7 walks in 3 innings.
Yeah.
So now, supposedly the low strike wasn't being called, and A.B. Cohen was getting some of that. We'll get to A.B. soon, but Salim did get called out looking on the strike 3, and I heard he lost it. He lost it and walked off the field saying, "I'm out of here." Now, this is one thing we've been talking about this team, that there's a lot of controversy and
there's a lot of dysfunction on this team.
So it got even worse because
there's
Salim threatened to walk off. They got him back. I think Ike went and got him back on. Then later in the game, I heard Bub and JT had it out. There was a key play.
Which is a strange combination.
Very weird combo. And I heard the way that happened. There was a throw that went to first, and it went off Edmund Dweck's glove, I believe, and ricocheted. And if Bub wasn't in the way, it would have went out of play, and the runner would have went to second. Instead, Bub tried to get out of the way of the ball, but the ball, I would say like a deflection in hockey, he tried to get out of the way, and he kept the ball in play. I think JT, it just rubbed him the wrong way, and he just let Bub have it.
Really? I didn't see that one. That's
and
very
Bub,
unlike JT.
I hear you. And Bub wasn't quiet. Bub defended himself.
Uh-huh.
And I think there wasn't such good blood going on over there. I heard that, and I played with this guy for 5 years. People don't even know how his voice sounds, and he's in the league for 10 years. Svi Goldberg got so frustrated over the craziness going on that he opened his mouth and said, "Guys, let's just shut up and play ball."
Right.
When you hear a guy like Svi Goldberg getting a little annoyed and getting vocal, you know that something's volatile in that locker room.
It's not a good situation there. It
Not
really
good.
isn't. It's
Now they were down 7-0, and they crawled back to make it 7-4. They were in the game, so they were right there. And I know that they ended up losing 10-7 that first game. So if they had lost that second game, they ended up winning that second game 6-3. Salim ended up pitching, throwing strikes, and he was a very good strike thrower. And I heard the team loved Salim on the mound. I heard Ike played third. Ike Mavora played a good third base. So that worked out. They're even thinking about having Salim pitch. This is what I heard.
And putting Leo at second or something like that.
Or maybe letting them split a game each. And that could be good. That could be something. But like you said, if they didn't scratch out that second win, that team would be a train wreck. The fact that they're 2-4, and they're still
right in the mix with everybody. Let's face it, they do have talent.
Oh, heck yeah, they got a lot of talent.
I don't think they've put it back together. Ike still could hit with the best of them.
That's for sure.
If they just learn to keep their mouths shut and just play and not worry about.
Another thing was, I heard there was 2 balls that went over JT's head, and people were upset that he's playing very shallow, and that also was a point of contention with a couple of people. And JT, they're saying, "Why are you playing so shallow?" There's some, like you said, there was another ripple to the party that they're having in that locker room.
Yeah.
On the flip side, the Turtles team, I heard AB pitched very well, as he'd been. Heard Teddy Braha played a great right field. They were missing Gabe Abadie. Gabe Abadie was missing.
Yes.
And I heard Lee held his own at short. And a big tip of the cap to NRJ, played a very good second base, I heard.
Yeah, and they had Eshko this week too.
Yes.
Ali Braha was there, so another thing. But they almost actually pulled off the second game.
They almost won. It was 6-3 final score.
No, but it was 3-3 in the seventh, I believe.
Yes, it was 3-3, and then they opened up. I heard they were missing Gabe. Some of the infield defense did come back to hurt him a little bit.
He's probably one of the top shortstops.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's amazing there. And I heard Billy Miz came out of his shell this week. He had a 3-for-3 game, and he played really well. Like I mentioned, Teddy was great. Sonny had a big hit to tie a game, I know, in a big spot. But like I said, they almost pulled it off, but they couldn't pull off the sweep. But they're not so upset. What are they, 4-2?
This is the 4-2.
They're 4-2. They're in a very good spot. I did hear that AB's not throwing as fast as everybody pictured him to be throwing. He's mixing speeds, but he's a good pitcher. So he's getting the job done.
Listen, he looked pretty damn good to me. The second game, maybe he got a little winded, but he was coming in with some.
He still has probably the fastest fastball in the league.
Yeah, listen, we're not going to have any Nathan Matesh's here with 7 strikeouts. The defense is going to have to play.
You got to play, and like you mentioned, you got to stay away from the walks.
Right, which he does for the most part.
Yeah, he does.
And the bottom, the orders really don't have too much of a shot against him. Sometimes.
Right. There's certain
You
teams
know,
that have
3-0
deeper areas,
Campbell,
right.
but they're definitely sitting in a good position.
No,
For
they're in a
I'm
good
sure
spot.
they're pretty happy with that. So now let's shoot over to the other side of the town, which is a game that had to be relocated to the friendly confines of Dow Avenue.
Yeah, Dow's a field that people love, actually. So, I don't know. It's a field that a lot of people
It's a great. To me, there's nothing like a playoff when both fields are going on.
Both fields, yeah. Because
And you're standing in the middle watching back
you can
and
see
forth.
everything. It's great.
You know, so...
they just have those trees on the one Dow that sometimes brings up controversy.
Right.
But that's only when there's a big...
So now this is a matchup you have a lot to brag about. The New York Knights versus Motley Crue.
Yes, I called the split. And it wasn't exactly the way I asked for it to happen, but it happened. Speaking to a couple of players on both sides, what was it? Game 1 was close. I know the final score was a major...
No, the first 11-2.
11-2, but I heard it was 3-2 in the fifth.
Really? I didn't see that.
So I heard Ralph Sutton played very well, and I did hear that David Rishti, who's been playing a really good third, in that Game 1 had a very shoddy Game 1 at third base. I heard there was 3 or 4 errors from quite a few people. I had played with David at third. He's usually flawless. I heard he had a tough time at third base, Game 1. Ralph was pulled. So I did hear, for the most part, Ralph pitched well. I know it's 11 runs, and the balls probably hit hard, but I heard it wasn't Ralph.
When did they bring in? Mino, the closer?
Yeah, we got a win last time. I didn't even ask. But like you said, it was 9-2 or 10-2 at the time. They scored another one. Yeah, they saved Ralph. Ralph, I heard, was a little disheveled. They took him off the mound, and Jack said, don't take it the wrong way. I'd just rather you get a little break. I know you're a young kid, but regroup. Don't let them see you, and you'll come back for the game too. And that's what they did. So this team that seems invincible won Game 1, 11-2, and they must have been riding high at 5-0. Game 2, I heard Ralph pitched well, and they lost. What was the final score, Game 2?
It was a one-run game. It was 4-3.
4-3. So,
I believe they actually made a comeback. And,
yes, at the end there. The tying run was on third.
Tying run was on third. And,
so they made it nice. It was 4-1 in the last inning.
Right.
So I give Ralph credit. He did. He shut them down, and it worked. And there was a line drive to end the game, from what I heard. I don't know where it went, but a line drive catch to end that game. And it worked out being a split.
Right.
But I will say, this Knights team that we've been waxing poetic big time about, a lot of people came to my field that played them on the Motley Crue squad and said, hey, don't get me wrong, they're really good, but you guys are making them out to be the 27 Yankees. And I said, okay, they're playing great, the record shows it, but I did hear they said their defense on the infield could be dangerous. They said Mark Bride, shortstop, is amazing. He's playing phenomenal. But they said the right side, defensively, on the infield, hit it low and hard, good things will happen.
Well, they had Louis Patesh at short center. Right. He actually played pretty decent, made a couple of errors. But
and David Simhorn's at second.
Simhorn at second.
And Albert Kamal, they said, still has to get used to playing the infield. They said he looked like he was limping a little bit. And from what I heard, Harry Braha didn't really get tested much at third base this week.
Right.
They said their outfield, you hit the ball out there, it's not touching the base.
Right.
Ball's being caught. So test their infield hard. And Mikey, we know, is not going to walk people, and he hits his spots.
Right.
He's a good pitcher. So they're still a team to beat in my eyes. I didn't see them yet. They still have a deep lineup, the way it looks like to me. But we see they're mortal. They're not a machine.
Yeah. Well, and listen, we've never had an undefeated team. Like you said last week, maybe the loss can help them.
This could help run. Little pressure off of them.
But I did hear also Mikey lost a little bit,
Oh, really? Got a little angry?
Yeah, a little angry at a time, I don't know, I guess.
Was it in a close game? Was it?
I don't know. I just heard. I don't even know exactly when, but maybe he was using it as motivation.
He likes to do that. It's funny. Yeah. Usually, when he uses motivation, he gets mad at the other team. Curious, who gets mad at Jack Jamal? He's not an easy guy.
Nah, he'll find somebody.
Find somebody there. As Mino Dweck got picked on.
It could be the tree in left field.
Okay, if it drives him and makes him pitch well, and I've seen him do it, he's got a reason for it. But,
yeah, I mean, there's 12 guys you could pick from, so it could be anybody.
But that game they ended up losing. Again, he didn't get shelled. They lost 4-3, so he didn't pitch bad. That team, the Jamal team, like we mentioned, Ike Jamal tremendously helped that outfield. Their defense is unbelievable, but they are lacking the Jimmy Malak bat. They have one bopper in their lineup who has great stats in Nathan Zolta.
Right.
He's having a great season so far, and here he's tearing the cover off the ball. So they have him in the lineup, but from what I hear, he could be pitched around in this lineup now.
Right.
Ike and him, and then he gets pitched around a little.
So they're 3-3.
Right in the middle of the pack.
3-3.
3-3.
So really, it's probably the closest rap's been Sutton's been the.
Yes, he's in a very good spot.
Yeah.
Season ends today. He's in the playoffs, so he's smiling right now.
He's usually 1-7 by this point, So
he only played 2 out of the 3 weeks.
Yeah, that was tough. But at least I know they have some depth. Listen, anytime you have Morris Ham on that team,
Morris,
and now Ike Jamal, and now you got some
good defense. And again, it's funny if David Richtie does fault that third and they have issues, they could always put Jack Jamal at third.
Right.
Jack's been there, has done that.
What's he playing? Short center or second?
I think he's at second now. So if they have to, they could always flip flop those two.
Right.
I heard that David had a great game 2, so I don't think he's moving anywhere. Game 1, the pressure is not on him yet, so he'll be there at third base. I know he wanted to play third. Going into the draft, he wanted to play third.
Speaking of great third baseman, I'll tell you one guy who's really, really elevated himself.
I'm going to guess you say Charles Sack.
100%.
Yeah, I hear the kid makes every play.
No, but he's got a gun. His arm is amazing.
And he stops everything. We finished their game, but I think David Harari actually told me, this kid, Charles Saka, made every single play and throws the ball perfect the first every time.
I'm telling you, he might be one of the top third basemen.
He grew up, he could play outfield, but he really turned himself into an elite defensive third baseman. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, to grow into that. Not easy. And he's still young, so he's only getting better. So I don't know what his hitting is. He's up and down hitting.
Hey, it doesn't matter.
When you're an athletic kid and you're playing a great third like that,
all right, so let's shoot over back to the other side of town now, over at Fireman's East.
That's my game.
And this field was.
This game could be 1 hour's worth. Yeah, we worked the field a lot. Morris Casson and David Farker did a lot of the work using the squeegee.
Which we'll talk about later. Might have affected Farker's hitting.
Maybe could have been. We used that bird seed stuff. I brought that stuff. It works wonders. This stuff's great.
But thank God it was not huge puddles. Just needed some work.
It's just muddy. Need a little work.
All right, so this is hit and run coming in.
1-3.
1-3. Got swept last week against Band on the Run. So
against Maurice. Now they're playing my team, Band on the Run. This was a wild game. This was a game. Maybe there was only 2 half innings where there wasn't scoring. Which is, that's a wild thing to say. I could be wrong.
Before you go any further, it was ironic because last week we were talking about
how that feels, right? I thought about that in the middle of the game. And I said, Bobby gave us the nas. I mean, it worked for us, too. We still do. But, yes, we just finished saying every score is 3-2. And ended up being 13-12. Right. But we got off to a really bad start. We were down 4-0 early. Ralph was getting hit early. And you know what? This hit-and-run team has a good offensive team. They do. Joe Chira was 11 for 14 going in. That's all we were talking about. And I think he had another 4 hits. Okay, and he hit the ball hard. He was hitting well. And his first at-bat he got on again, just to, it's insult to injury on the other side. They scored a bunch. Jake Dweck hit the ball well early. But on defense to us, we came right back. And right when we came right back, they came back again. It was one of those, it was like a Rocky Balboa fight. This every swing, we hit one, they hit one. We hit one, they hit one. It's one of those back and forth matches. The truth on our side, I don't think my team really made many defensive miscues over the course of the game. Ralph walked a few too many over the course of the game, but something that hurt Ralph, was a literal hurt Ralph, line drive off of Ralph's thumb, I think happened in the 3rd inning.
Right.
Hit him really hard. Moses Eastman on the sideline gave me a look. You really want me to pitch? So he didn't look like he was ready, to be honest. And Ralph gritted it up. His hand was numb. We waited about 5-10 minutes. This was maybe the longest game in YMSL history. Every inning, somebody had a bad hamstring. Someone got hit. Something happened every inning. Thank God everybody's okay. But Ralph gritted it out. Didn't have really his thumb to grip. And that may have affected him. It may have affected him in the game. And
well, it didn't affect him at the plate.
No, I think it helped him at the plate. He was 0 for the season, and boy, did he come to hit the ball this week, because he was hitting launches all over the field, left center, right center, up the middle, line drives. He was great. His stats speak for themselves. But we ended up being down by 4 in the 6th. And big kudos to the back end of my lineup. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 in my lineup. Joey Cohen, this young 16-year-old, I think was 4 for 4. Wow. Marcus Adjmi on the day was 3 for 4.
You can hit that kid. I'll tell you.
There was an at-bat. We'll get to it. It was in Game 2, so I'll fast-forward later to that. Game 1, we tied it up. I forgot how we tied it up. Eddie Michon came through with a major hit right center field. Vintage Eddie Michon hit. He came out of his shell this week offensively. We tied it up. We went to extra innings. And in fact, we took the lead. So after being down by 4 in the 6th, we took the lead in the bottom of the 9th. And the 9th inning, Walker 2, they had bases loaded, 1 out. And just to throw myself under, there was a ground ball, hard hit ground ball by Jody LeBose. I fielded it clean, and we had a double play ball. And I rushed to throw to second, and I drew Eddie Michon off the bag. I didn't even get an out on the play, which killed us. They scored the tying run, and Jaime Shama, with bases loaded, 1 out, went on to hitting a rifle line drive to left field to win the game. So after all of our Michugas, you want to say, and all of our walks and our all the garbage that we went through, we had the game in our hands, and I feel bad. It's eating me up.
So where was the ball hit? Towards second? Or
it was in the hole. I moved to my right.
Yeah.
It was very hard hit. Two hopper, and it went right into my glove.
What was the situation? Bases loaded?
Bases loaded, 1 out. I should have known better to take my time because Jody, as much as he hustles hard and he could run,
he's slow.
He's not the fastest in the world, and he hit the ball hard enough that I probably could have taken my time, zipped it to Eddie, and he would have turned the double play. I rushed the throw, and I made a really poor throw to second base, a bad throw. And that was probably our team's only error in that game.
So the run scored to tie it up?
Run scored to tie it up.
So you're up.
We were up by one that tied it.
You really couldn't go home, so it was really...
I could have went home.
Who was running at third? So anybody?
The ball was hit hard enough that I could have went home and had 2 outs, bases loaded.
Right.
But we did say before the play, we had a gather on the mound. Eddie Michon said, go for the double play.
Right.
It may have been I was a little Mishka bobbled in my head, and I was still thinking home. Eddie said go to second. I don't know what I was subconsciously thinking. The bottom line is I made a really bad throw.
Right.
But it happens. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. But otherwise, our team defense was really, really good on that game 1. Maybe there was 1 or 2 errors on the infield.
And also you played Nathan Towle wasn't there this week, so you played.
Nathan was missing. Ralph
Matute, right
and I didn't play in both games. Ruby Shalou played right field game 2.
Oh, really? How was that?
And he held his own. He's very good out there. He's a good right fielder. Ralph Matute actually played some short center and played great. Really played great. Made some web gems out there in just the 5 innings he was there.
Ralph Matute's
he's a good
player.
He didn't really get along hitting crazy yet, but he's a good player. He's a great guy to have. He's very multiple. He's like that. You know what he reminds me of? Like Martin Prado type of guy. He could play any position.
Speaking of Rudy Shalou, a lot of people excited. I haven't really seen him yet, but a lot of people are talking about Steven Shalou
Steven's a ball
as
player.
a real deal.
I mean, hey, Ruby, I think had 2 walks and 4 hits also. These guys hit the ball hard.
Right.
A couple of guys told me on that Jeffrey's team that I don't know what his stats were. I don't even think he had great stats, but I heard the balls flying off his bat. He's been saying it every week on the report.
Right. So
game 2. We went down 1-0, and we came back to tie it right away, and then Ralph shut them down. I don't know, maybe his finger got better, but he just shut them down, and we went on to hit A.B. Saka pretty hard, and we won 9-2, going away easy. Maybe they were just comfortable and happy with their first win, and they just mailed game 2 in. I don't see why a team that's going to be 2-4 should do that, but it seemed that way. Jaime Shama, I give him a big shout out. He pulled his hamstring. He stayed in the game, made a diving stop, pulled it worse. The guy wouldn't take himself out of the game. Wow. He's a real gamer, but I don't know if he's going to be able to play this week.
Oh, was that bad?
Yeah, it seemed like he was in a lot of pain.
That could be a big problem because who's their other shortstop?
So it's funny. Their defense, looking at their defense, doesn't look great.
Well, now they moved Braca out of first.
Braca was good in short center. He had a good day in short center field. The bloops at this point of Braca's life, he's not going to get. And that may have, that's what I'm telling you, that may have hurt him a little bit because AB says the dinks and dunkers kill me. There were dinks and dunkers, don't get me wrong, but we hit him. He got hit.
Honestly, there's not that many guys that get those songs except for Eshko and short.
You're right, Eshko.
Really?
I'll say this kid Joey Cohen in short center for my team got a couple. The young spry kid Ralph. There are a couple of them, but what Braca's great at is getting those ground balls and staying in front of it. Yeah. I've seen him take balls in the face. He's
right. No, he's a big target when you're sitting there pitching.
Seeing right
or hitting. It's a big thing.
He's a big guy there. And he made a couple. He throws the ball well to first base still. So they put him there. I have a feeling he's going to be there. Short center fielder for the most part.
Yeah, so now they're going with Avi. I think he's going to play first one game.
Right. Jody LeBose played first, and he played well. Avi was all over the field this week. He played right field and went to third. And I think this coming week, we'll talk about it. We'll get there soon. I just want to give Marcus Adjmi. In game 2, it was 1-up. Runner on first. He had an 0-2 count, and he fouled off at least 5 or 6 tough pitches.
From AB.
From AB Saka. worked the count to 2-2, and then ripped the line drive up the
Wow.
middle for a hit. And he's batting 10. So that led us to the top of our lineup.
That kid can hit. He always hits. He finds a way to hit.
Finds a way to get on. He's pesky.
Yeah.
Nathan Batesh came out of his shell this week, too, at 4 hits, painting the lines. Left field line, right field line. I think he hits great when his mother's there. So Lisa's got to be on our games, both games. Whenever she shows, he starts hitting. A.B. Cohen and David Farka didn't have a great offensive day. But like we mentioned, the rest of my team picked up.
But ironically, with all the runs you put up and they didn't do
Right.
anything,
That's a sign, right. David might have been a little tired from, like you said, the raking.
Right.
A.B. was busting him in. A.B. Cohen hit the ball hard a few times, just didn't...
I'm sure the defense was still rock
they made
solid
some
over
plays.
there.
Oh, he plays a great center.
Right.
Farka, I know it was foul, but probably at the farthest shot a lot of us ever seen. The ball was so clocked.
Right down the right field line?
Down the right field line, foul, but oh my goodness, he killed it. I mean, nothing to show for it. You got to make it fair.
Did Russell Mann make the right call, or he asked for help from the...
We had Zambrano or Romano. They had a good day, both of them. Sammy Towell had a couple of key hits. Eddie Michon, as you saw in the stats, 7 for 8.
Right.
And Ralph
Yourself,
Hannon
big
came
days.
through. Again, we hit the ball well against Savvy. 6 for 8. We hit the ball well against Savvy. But
now the big question we got to talk about is really A.B. Saka has been hit hard.
It's been hit hard. Now,
I mean, is it the defense? I know we always talk about it.
So 2 weeks ago, I know it was their defense. This past week, although they don't have the greatest of defenses, I don't think the defense let them down. I think the balls were hit hard. But maybe a lot of times, you can't judge him early in the season.
Right.
Because let's think about it. We say it all the time. He's 2-6. He was 1-5.
Right.
And he's in that area again. So maybe AB's a tale of two cities. He starts the season slow, and he ends it hot, and he gets himself in, and that's what gets him going. So he has been getting hit, but it could be that this is AB's mantra. Maybe he needs a couple of weeks to work himself in it, and he peaks when he has to. Let's see if that happens again this year. Right now, I agree with you. He's been getting hit. Let's see.
I mean, there's really, there's a couple of games he had big leads down the stretch, and they lost it.
Right, he had a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, that was so.
Right, that hurts.
It's,
the question the question more on this year is I think those other teams had good defensive. They were good defensively.
Right.
I'm not saying this team can't play defense, but they're not as good as his other teams were defensively.
Right.
So is that going to bite him in the long run? Offensively, they're good. They could hit. Morris Casson, Avi Dweck. Jake Dweck became a hitter. Yeah. He had that first opening rookie year great, and then he had 2 bad years. He looked zoned in. That kid could hit.
Who played right field? Because Avi Dweck was not there.
So Avi Dweck started in right, and from what I heard, they weren't upset about it because I heard Avi had a really rough 2 weeks out there. He had the hoodie on his head, not paying attention type of thing. But Avi played okay right. There was 1 or 2 plays maybe he could have made. Ralph hit a bomb. I don't know if he could have made it or not, but he held his own in right field. And otherwise, defensively, they were okay. I didn't recognize any problems. I think they held their own. So next week, they may be in a little bit of trouble. We'll get to that. Did we cover all the games yet?
Yeah, we actually did. And
so let's move on to predictions.
And now, big Memorial Weekend coming up. And from the looks of the forecast, we might finally get a break this week.
I can put the rake away.
Yeah.
Looking forward.
But who knows the way things have been going. We do know tomorrow's supposed to be 85, so hopefully it keeps going. We're still working out field details this week. But we'll start off with the struggling. Now, again, trading deadline is Friday, 6 p.m., so there could be new faces by the time game time starts. The Red Sox going up against Motley Crue. So now we have Motley Crue coming in, as we said, 3-3, and the Red Sox 2-4. I believe Leo's coming back. Now he's got a decision to make who's going to get the ball.
I would imagine Leo's going to get the ball game 1 because Leo comes into the league as a pitcher.
Right.
Salim, as much as he could pitch, is a third baseman by trade.
Right.
So I have a feeling he'll get the ball.
I guess they'll feel him out and see how he does, and then if he does,
exactly.
What
do you think?
Now, Motley Crue with Ralph Sutton.
So Ralph, I hear, has been pitching well, but I think Ralph Sutton's going to have to go against a harder lineup. As much as this Red Sox team is having issues, they still have a talented lineup, and I think they have a lineup that's going to hit Ralph. I do think so. I think JT is going to come out of his shell, and I think Jordy is going to come out of his shell this week. And those 2 guys have yet to really explode, And I think that bottle's shaking, and someone's going to open up that bottle and they're going to pop. I think it's this week that those two come through. That's my prediction.
So you're saying what?
I think it's going to be a split. I think Ralph's going to get hit, and that's why the Red Sox are going to score. But Leo Casson, I think, could have some trouble against this Motley Crue team because they're well coached.
Right.
And there could be walks, and they're patient at the plate, and there's a lot of speed on that team. And the defense of the Red Sox, I still don't believe it. I don't believe the defense of the Red Sox, so I see a split personally.
I see a split also, but if there's going to be a sweep, I would not be surprised if Motley Crue swept them.
You feel that could be the death blow for the Red Sox if there is a sweep this week.
I just think there's so much dysfunction, and again, there could be new faces there. It could be a whole different,
different structure.
Right. So we don't even know who's going to be there, but Motley Crue, as we said, Mo Shama, Ike Jamal, Jack Jamal, that whole nucleus, Marty. The David Richke, the veterans. I think they'll.
That's why I can't see them getting swept.
No,
I hear you.
I'd be completely shocked if they swept.
I see a split. That's what I personally see. Let's see what goes on with that.
Now, a huge matchup, again, at Fireman's East, but again, we'll figure that out.
Matchup, right?
Band on the Run.
That's my boys, that's right.
Coming against Sack Attack coming up.
That's going to be exciting. Like you mentioned early in the show, we'll see Ike Franco maybe make a
cameo. Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited to face Jeffrey. We have some guys.
Your team doesn't line up for autographs.
But we have a couple of guys on my team this year that played with Jeffrey last year. Me and Nathan Batesh. Is there anybody else? Maybe it's just those two, but I know us two played with him last year. Let's see. Jeffrey looked like he pitched well last week, but we have a deep lineup. My team could hit from top to bottom, from 1 to 10. I'm not actually having a problem. Who am I going to sub out? Because we have 12 hitters on my team. You don't have to ask me my prediction. I'm not going to predict it. Go ahead. You can make a prediction on this.
A lot of people feel Sack Attack could be one of the better teams in the league as far as really they have a lot of depth and really no weaknesses either with all the veterans and stuff. But I see a split here. I can't see either one of these teams sweeping.
I wanted to hear him say I'm going to get swept, but he didn't do it.
No, I don't think. I think the team's too strong to get swept, and I think.
So my team has yet to win a game one. I don't know if I'm supposed to throw that out there, but I'm just telling you we have yet to win game one this season. I don't know if that's
that's a good sign. That's a good. I go home happy. At least,
right, we go home happy. This is true, but now we already hello. We got to get out there. We play well in the close games. We need and Ralph pitches better in game two usually. These guys have a good lineup. I'm not going to deny it. They're a strong team. Michael Solomon, Ali Marshall, Henry Shalom.
Right.
You say those three names.
Shalou,
new boy. But I'm saying you say those three veteran names in any lineup, you're not going to sneeze at it. You're not going to take them lightly. And our team is definitely not taking these guys lightly. And with Jeffrey on the mound, I mean, sometimes his back flares up, or he could have a walking day. He could have a great day. So I don't know what Jeffrey we're going to see. I'm hoping my lineup comes and continues the Sack attack, because we attacked A.B. Sacker last week. We just hope we keep that trend going.
Has Elliott Sacker been hitting yet, or is he...
In stat-wise, I didn't see it. I don't think he has many hits yet.
Right. He's always a big threat at the...
Yeah, he's a threat. I played with him 3 years in a row. He's a threat. Henry hasn't played enough. He hasn't had enough of a body of work yet this season to really tell. Michael Solomon, we know, is hitting. And Ali's going to always get his way on base. Abraham Haber is that wild card, I guess. And Stevie Shalou is a guy I have to beware for.
And Savon's always going to get situations where hitting behind Ali, he's going
to have his opportunities.
Oh, for sure. So
my team, I won't say any in particular player. We really have. It could be Ralph Hannon, who's batting 7th.
Well,
it could be Eddie Michon. It could be A.B. Cohen.
Like you said, the great thing about those guys came out of a season-long slump.
Yeah.
Michon and Ralph.
Oh, wow. Boy, did they come out to hit last week. So I'm hoping that
all of a
carries
sudden
over.
you get production from, added to Fark and A.B. Cohen. And,
we have yet to all hit.
Yeah.
If my team all hits, I don't know what could happen. It could be an inning that doesn't end.
Right.
So we've been having guys. Well, usually that's how it works.
What number do you hit in the order usually?
I'm batting 5th this year in the order. I have Sammy Towell, Eddie Michon, Sammy Towell, myself. And Fark and A.B. Cohen are 1 and 2. And then behind me was Ralph Hannon, Ruby Shalou, Nathan Towell. So it's a long lineup. It's not a lineup you really could ever take a break from.
Right. So it should be a great matchup. That should be really
looking forward.
Really interesting.
My team is very excited about this game.
Now, I believe a huge matchup that could have major implications for the Cubs going up against the Knights.
Ooh.
And that's not a team you really want to go up against when you...
Like we said, people are telling us that we're selling the Knights too high right now. But I'm going to continue selling them. I think they're going to sweep. I think the Knights are going to sweep.
Shut the phone up before Maurice Haber starts.
Right away when I left last week, Maurice gives me a text. Thank you for the prediction. Well, sure enough, when I saw the scores, I texted Maurice right away. I guess my prediction wasn't so off. Max Deed is a good pitcher, but I could see Mikey Shallow. I'm not talking about a high-scoring game this time either. I see Mikey Shallow knocking down Maurice's lineup. I do. And I don't know if Maurice's team could expose the defensive deficiencies the Knights have. And that would make the Knight a really strong team.
Right.
So that's my opinion. Let's see. Carlos could maybe come out and play strong. He can put the ball around the field if he wants. Is Maurice going to do that? I see the Knights taking 2. And that would put Maurice's team in a really tough spot at 2-6 if it does happen.
Well, we always talk about the great outfield of the Knights, and you have guys that can hit like David Harari and stuff, but again, nothing's going to fall into that.
That's
outfield.
why they got to go with the old Wayne Vassell saying hard and low.
Hit it on the ground. I still think they're the team to beat, like we mentioned, and I agree with you. I think there's going to be a sweep.
You see a sweep? All right. So swept cold over here.
So, and I just don't think the Cubs are as strong as as last year's team that he had.
They're lacking a little bit of the firepower.
Right.
I think they're defensively pretty good.
Right.
They're not as strong as last year's team, but again, it's very hard to.
That's hard to duplicate.
Very hard. And they had a great team last year. But I think they are lacking a little firepower. We've been saying David Harari has to be that big bat, and he's yet to really come across with it. And Maurice, it's a long season, but last year Maurice had like 18 RBIs early. He's not doing that yet. I don't know if that's lack of people on base for him, or maybe he's on the other side of 50 now. I don't know. Turned 50 last year. Now maybe, I know he doesn't want to hear that, but you have to
listen, you still have Eliezer. You still have
of course. Johnny's great. They have players.
Talent, but I just think
there's a lot of talent on the team. We're not denying it. Carlos and Johnny. Question is, as a whole, is this team good enough to beat the Knights at this stage of the season? I think the Knights are riding high, and the Cubs are on a little bit of a low note. Maybe 3 weeks from now, we'll choose it differently. Right now, I think they're running into a moving train that's a little hard to beat. So
now, another interesting matchup over at the Playground is Hit and Run versus the Turtles.
That's an interesting matchup. I don't even know.
Now, again, the Hit and Run, the 2 and 4, going up against A.B. Cohen, which is not really the pitcher you want to go up against.
No, definitely not. Now, like I said, this Hit and Run team could hit, but I think it's an easy decision for me to make here because I hear Joe Chira is missing.
Oh.
That's what I heard. Hot Joe Chira is missing.
Oh, I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And I heard Jaime Shama may be missing.
Oh, because he's hurt.
No, I think he was missing anyway.
Oh.
So that'd be their center fielder and their shortstop. And we're not talking about a team that has many backups in these positions. Jake Dweck is probably going to move to center field. I'm sure he'll be fine. But that's not the issue. It's who's going to play left. Maybe A.B. Dweck moves to left. Jake's brother, who was missing last year. I think Avi Dweck's going to be playing third base this week, and Morris Casson will be at shortstop.
Wow.
So I'm not saying they can't handle it. I know Avi Dweck has been wanting a chance to play third base for a long time now. For years he's been telling me, I can do it at third. He played third at the end of last week and held his own. So he's going to get a chance this week, and I'm sure they may try.
Does he have a strong enough arm to get...
So, it's funny. A lot of the third basemen in our league
don't have
great arms. My third baseman, Nathan Batesh.
Yeah, they play in a little bit.
Plays in, and he's one of the best in the league, Nathan. You get the ball there.
You have enough time.
Who was the third baseman, the worst arm ever, but he made every play. What was his name? Eli Cohen, remember?
Oh, God,
and he held his own at third for years. And I think Avi's arm is even stronger than these guys. He does. He could throw the ball over there. Avi's going to be at third. But missing Joe Chira and Jaime.
I didn't know they were missing both those guys.
That's a big killer, and that's why I have to give
the
Turtles the edge.
The whole situation.
I probably would have said split because I don't see A.B. Sack going to 2-6, even though it's been happening over years. But I see missing Jaime and Joe Chira. Jaime swung a really good bat last week, and Joe Chira, I don't need to say. Look at the stats. and he's been hitting.
Well, I don't know. From what you're telling me, I think A.B. Cohen's just going to run through this lineup now. With
I wouldn't say run through because
some of the lower bats.
But Stevie Corman's going to have to get every at bat.
Right.
Teddy Ashkenazi, who's on this team now, right? Instead of I think.
No.
Nothing.
Hell,
he's back. Okay, so I don't know. Let me bite my lip on that. Sorry, but these guys are going to have to get their at bats. So the back end of the lineup may be a little bit weaker than usual, but they do have a strong lineup. Jody LeBeau is towards the back end, and he's a hitter. He gets on base. What's his name? Abe's swinging the strong bat. A.B. Saka. Jake DeWeck, man.
Yeah, a lot of these guys obviously never faced A.B. Cohen before.
That could be something. That could be.
So the first game could be like maybe they'll adjust by game 2.
True. I hear that.
But
and where is this? Which field is this going to be?
That's a playground.
Okay.
Playground. So I'm like you. I think honestly, even if they were there, that would have.
They're still calling us sweep.
I think the Turtles are much better defensively, and
they're going to get Gabe back now.
Right.
Gabe back in the mix. They're going to feel even stronger. What's always a question is Elliot Braha playing or Jackie Eshko.
I don't think it matters honestly for them.
Teddy Braha plays a great outfield.
Right. It's a short center field they're talking about. So it's not like
right, and they both do a great job there, so it's not that big a difference.
Right.
But I call sweep by A.B. Cohen's group, and I see them going to 6-2.
Yeah.
Which this happens.
Now listen, we're both predicting.
We're both predicting 2-16.
2-16.
Yeah, so if that happens, these guys are going to really be under the gun. They're going to have to wake up.
They'd be like a couple of games behind, probably. Well, actually, no, because you know what? The ironic thing is, if the Red Sox get swept, which is not out of the realm, there'll be 3 teams at 2-6.
It could happen.
And one of them's going to have to get in for the playoffs. So
we called the split on that. But
but I'm saying I would not be shocked if Molly was.
Right. Okay. I'm curious.
So listen, they could both sweep.
Usually our predictions go dead wrong. Last week I was actually pretty on the money, but usually our predictions go really bad. But
how great is it if we go into the last week or two where 7 teams are a game apart?
Which usually happens.
Yeah, I know.
For some reason we usually
even if they do go 2-6, they're a sweep away from being
right in it. So usually that one game playoff to get into the playoffs. That usually happens.
Yeah. So
looking forward, a lot of action. The fun things, the drama. Yeah. I mean, nobody wants drama, but there has been a lot of drama. Red Sox, we tip our caps to you guys for giving most of it.
Right.
That makes a lot of the fun, which makes a lot of talk radio.
Yeah. So again, the trading deadline Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Shabbat's like almost 8 o'clock. So,
it's 2 hours to pass the physical.
Right. Okay.
And and again, we all talking to a lot of the captains and managers. They're all looking. They're all looking.
They could be.
Every single captain is looking to.
Everybody's looking to make their team better.
Right.
Even if you're 5-1, you're always looking to maybe make yourself better defensively.
Now you're telling me with this situation with Bub and JT, who knows?
You never know. I don't know.
Bub's got a connection with the Turtles.
If the match makes sense, you never know. I have no idea.
But what we do know is it's impossible to deal with the YMSL.
It's very hard. Very hard.
So I'd like to see Jeffrey Sacker when we say we'll pull off a trade.
Yeah, good luck. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe if there's money. I don't know. I can't see it happening. Anyway,
so big holiday weekend. Everybody, we look forward to seeing you out at the field.
Enjoy Memorial Day.
And hopefully it'll be a nice, beautiful Sunday. We don't have to worry about the weather.
Looking forward.
We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Have a great night. How long will we?